Torre.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
Si Interpol at ano ba ang jurisdiction nila sa mga countries including the Philippines? At ano ang obligasyon natin sa Interpol?
Okay, Interpol is a transnational organization which is simply lahat ng mga police or law enforcement agencies all over the world. It has member agencies na they come together, they have a common pool so that in case it has a red notice. What is a red notice? It is only advisory to the members of the Interpol saying na, hey, can you please arrest this person?
Okay.
But they cannot say, we will arrest this person. Now, in the Philippines, Interpol is represented by the Philippine Center for Transnational Crime. Kaya, a representative was there when President Duterte was kidnapped. But he was not the one talking. Nasa background lang siya. It was General Torre talking. So, dapat dili unta si General Torre if Interpol indeed had jurisdiction and had the capacity to arrest President Duterte, but it does not. So, ang ginasulti sa Philippine government that they were only complying with the warrant of arrest issued by or the red notice issued by the Interpol. Kana dili gina tinuod. Kani I really printed this. Okay, nakabutang diri sa Interpol mismo. A red notice is a request to law enforcement worldwide to locate and provisionally arrest a person pending extradition, surrender, or similar legal action. A red notice is not an international arrest warrant. Klaruhan lang na.
Yes, exactly. So, mauna, pending extradition. In other words, kung naaga ni warrant of arrest ang ICC, the Interpol would mandate nga kanang arrest warrant nga inyong issue, i-adto pa na sa court din eh.
Local court.
Because kung mo extradite ta og tao, og criminal, mo adto man sa ta sa court. We will have to go to the local court first and then say the local court will determine if that warrant of arrest is accurate.
Okay.
Or valid.
Or valid na siya, or legal ba na, or regular. Now, wala na gibuhat pag-aresto nila ni PRRD.
No, I refuse to use the word arrest.
Pag-kidnap.
Pagkuha nila kang PRRD.
Dito na itabo ang kidnap.
Yes. Because normally what happens is if there is a red notice and there is a warrant of arrest by the ICC, unta, the process should have been i-add to diri sa atong regular court, sa atong RTC, Regional Trial Courts, and the Regional Trial Courts will determine if the warrant is valid. And then, only after it has rendered a decision that the warrant is valid, namusulti sila, okay, you can arrest him now, you can bring him there. If there is an extradition treaty, but there is no extradition treaty.
Case in point lang, ani, hanga na yung extradition treaty, the Philippines and East Timor.
Okay.
Natay extradition treaty nila, mauna atong kuanon si Congressman Teves. But the extradition treaty ato ang warrant of arrest gihear pa sa court sa East Timor karon. Until now wala pa nakuha nato si Congressman Teves.
Correct.
Kay that is supposed to be the legal process which they did not follow. That's why extrajudicial rendition was done against PRRD.
Yes.
Pangutan na, what if naabot ta sa korte? Naabot ta sa korte kay nanglan og extradition.
Yes.
Okay. So, tan-on ninyo, mo hold ba sa ang ilahang ang kaso nila?
Para nako, kung maabot sa atong court, like ang naay jurisdiction atong time when he was detained there, was the Manila RTC, the Court of Appeals, and the Supreme Court. Kung i-present tong warrant of arrest, balibaran gyud sila sa korte, Mayor. Why? Because moingon man gyud ang courts, we are still functioning. Why are we going to surrender the president to another international body? Ayaw sa, hear it here. If we feel that it is not we are not di gud kaya sa atong judicial system, kay maybe ang huwis gipatay ba while hearing his case, mga ana, kung di gud kaya, then that's the time that we will submit. That's the time that Section 17 will be applied. Kung di na gud kaya sa
So
Pilipinas.
that's why they were really on a hurry
Yes.
Exactly.
board the
Board the
president on the plane. and
Before
send him
the
to Netherlands.
Supreme Court could have issued a TRO. Karon, in an extradition case, the party requesting extradition will have to present their evidence here in our local courts, but it's in Manila, RTC Manila. They will have to present evidence in our local courts, and it could take years. In the meantime, President Duterte could have asked for bail. So, while the hearing is going on, because they will have to prove, the foreign state asking for extradition will have to prove that indeed the laws there and the laws here are the same. And so because the laws there and the laws here are the same, then we can extradite him there because similar ang atong laws. Now, also, according to Attorney Regal, but our courts here will not give him up. Why? Because of the principle of complementarity. Unsa man na. ICC can only govern if our laws here are, if our judiciary, our law enforcement is not functioning. Now, because of what the Philippines did, the Philippine authorities did in surrendering, in kidnapping President Duterte and giving him to the ICC, does it mean that the Philippines no longer has a functioning judicial system? I violently object to that. Why? Because I believe and uphold the sanctity of the judicial functions here in the Philippines. Are they saying that we have already descended into chaos? I do not think so, because the Supreme Court is still functioning.
And this is where the whole thing is now. Mura Maginoo gisurrender atong sovereignty by President Marcos to another country. So how is it? It's just like him saying that this state is not functioning anymore. So unsa naman data karon?
No, but if he's saying, if the implication there is, if he's saying that the state is not functioning, then how does that reflect on his administration?
Precisely. Wala na gid ni siya.
Dapat siya ang balikan sa ICC sa tinuod lang sa iyang ginabuhat.
Supposedly good.
Kay karon, this I do not have the data, no. But a lot of my friends are saying talamak na ang droga ngayon.
Pero klaro man siguro gid kay ning gibuhat nila karon nga it's all about politics. Politika kayo.
This is political.
You know, September pa ang kuan, human ang election by then. So they just want to take out from the chessboard, no, from the equation. PRRD, kay he's gaining traction.
Exactly.
And that's what they're afraid of.
You know, I truly believe na kabalo bitaw kaning, di ba you're talking about a chessboard? Kana ganing mamate na ka, ma-checkmate na ka,
Yes.
ilan na lang
Correct.
Kanang
Hinahubog na lang ba? Hinubog na lang na style.
Very, like I have been saying, very Machiavellian ang ginabuhat nila karon. And with the disclosure of the DILG Secretary Remulla that the ones who orchestrated this was Secretary Anyo, Secretary Teodoro himself, and the President.
Where will that lead us, no?
Exactly. So it's like, now I understand why they have the capability to do this.
And I cannot understand why 4 people will decide that the sovereignty of the Philippines is null and void anymore.
Yes.
Pero kuya na siya ba, ito malaking issue ito. Kasi isipin mo, what is the position of Anyo right now?
National Security Advisor?
Defense.
And
No, si Gibo ang National
defense.
Defense.
National Security Advisor.
NSA. Yes.
And
NSA siya.
how about Gibo?
Defense Secretary.
Defense Secretary. National
And to add
Defense.
si John Vic Remulla who is
DILG. Unsa may labot
and all of
DILG?
these individuals participated in that
The core.
Apparently.
Yes.
According
Diba?
to...
According to Secretary Remulla, they are the ones who participated, which really comes as a very great shock. Because then you ask the question, considering that Secretary Anyo was also in the administration of President Duterte.
As DILG, no?
DILG. And not only that, when he retired, he was immediately given a position in government. And for, I think, all throughout the time that President Duterte was in office, Secretary Anyo was also in office. So, I really cannot understand why he would do this. I'm not saying that we should have patronage politics, no, but I just cannot understand, knowing what went on during President Duterte's administration when everything really nahapsay yun ang Pilipinas as compared to now. So, I leave it up to you. I do not want to say more.
Thank you, attorneys. I think those were very good points that we've raised here, and we have more facts now, no? Number one, balikan na ako tong Interpol. Interpol, yes, they exist, no? But an Interpol red notice is not an international arrest warrant to begin with. So dili pwede nga kato ang gamiton nga basihan nga mupunit og usa ka citizen dinhi sa Pilipinas. Number two, si Interpol moagi paghihapon will have to go through the local courts para ma-justify or ma-grant tong ilang request to extradite a particular citizen. Two facts, ladies and gentlemen, which the latter wala gyud na nahatag kay PRRD. And I think, Attorney Regal, your example kanang kay Congressman Teves, sakto gyud kayo na there's an ongoing extradition case, but tanawa dito, Congressman Teves is still in East Timor. The case is being heard, no? So kana di na siya bakak, mao na siya ang kamatuoran, Dabawenyo. So dirita karon, Mayor and attorneys, no? I think with klaro naman yun, wala na may kailangan ilalis dito sa legalities ba sa pag-aresto, and we really hope that the ICC will also see that matter objectively the way we see us. Nakaidungag, Mayor, or pwede ko po? Okay. Now, dinita karon sa remedies. Naa naman gyud to si PRRD, ana ba? Okay, sa laktod na pagkastorya, PRRD is now being detained dito sa ICC. Unsa ang iyang legal remedies prior to the confirmation of charges in September? What can the lawyers of PRRD do?
They can ask for his interim release. It's I think just so you can understand, no, it's similar to mga tag bail diri ba, but something similar like that. Although dili gid siya similar, but it's something like you ask for your release samtang wala pa gadagan ang kaso, and then even while the case is going on, you are out freely. Unfortunately, basin i-oppose gid na sa prosecution if we ask for an interim release, because they might claim that one, there's a possibility that he will flee, or two, that he could effectively tamper with the evidence, maybe by scaring people. Maybe that's what they're going to say, because that's what I think they're going to
I'm
go.
sure that I'm sure they will do that.
Yeah.
I'm sure they will do that. But the interim release or ang bail manggod sa ICC, conditional kay na siya.
Yes.
So it could be that he will only be scot-free pero only in the Netherlands.
Yes.
Pwede po nga it can also include host countries like
Yes.
Germany and UK. Pwede siya makasuri-suri ditong dapita.
Or Norway.
Or Norway, ka ng mga host countries lang nga willing mo kuan niya. And pwede po siyang makauli sa Philippines. He can, depending on the ICC nga unsay interim release nga conditions niya. But then, nagyod na yung mga reportorial every month ba, kailangan siya mubalik sa ICC, etc.
Pero I understand that interim release is subject to the fact that for every hearing, dapat naa siya dito. But because of his age and his medical condition, di ba gigrant naman tong iyang video conferencing, perhaps they will agree to that. But like I said, I
don't see na flight risk man si
I don't think
PRRD.
so. At his age,
at his age, I don't see that he will be running around and magtago-tago pa siya.
And he has always said that he is willing to face.
Exactly.
Diba?
The fact that he went, nisakay pa ganun sa eroplano, I don't see, he willingly went there.
And I don't think he willingly went there. Kay giprotestahan man gid niya. But you see, he had no more choice.
Correct.
Exactly.
One, because of the overwhelming police force then. And second, the fact that he was alone. Duha ra gud sila ni Executive Secretary Medial Dia. I do not think they would have been able to get a guerrilla force, Dili man sila Rambo. No, so they had to really go. But he was protesting it all the way. But I do not think he is a flight risk at his age. No?
And he even said that you can kill me first. Those words coming out from PRRD, it hurts.
Sakit.
Lagi. Attorney, tama lagi guys. Gusto na ko puniton yung storya na during the pre-trial, he appeared via video conference. And that's why many of the netizens said nga, pwede man di ay mag-video call. Unta, may pagwa na lang to gilupad. Dali na lang ba, no? Sa kana lang nga storya ba. So, here sa international scene, attorneys, maura to ang pwede nato buhaton for now. The application for the interim release.
Well, we do not want to know what other extra legal remedies the other persons are doing. No, I cannot speculate on that. But the legal remedies as of now is that.
Correct.
But at the same time, we have already filed, like I said, petitions for. There are 2 petitions for habeas corpus. I had the honor to file one for a very handsome mayor Karon lagi ko kakita sa iya under the light good no. Gwapo gid ikayo siya no. Okay, that's an aside ha. Okay. So, I had the privilege to file one for Mayor Duterte, Baste. And we are hoping that even if President Duterte is already within the jurisdiction of the ICC, there are still remedies available to us here.
Yeah.
Although right now, let me just update you.
Go ahead, Attorney.
The OSG has already filed a motion asking for its recusal. Ang recusal is for its murag inhibition ba nga dili sila mo participate because their stand is that the ICC has no jurisdiction. That is clear and I think it's already circulating online. Although to be honest, I still have not received, our office still has not received a copy of that. Second, the OSG has also made another motion asking that it be withdrawn from the case as a party kay pati sila gifilean man namo giuban man namo dito sa kaso namo. I can only speak for the case we filed. I cannot speak for the cases filed by the very able ex-presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo and the case filed by Dean Israelito Torion. So as of now kana gyud, and just this evening I was able to receive a compliance from consolidated compliance from all the other respondents, including ES Bersamin and all the rest. So I still have not had the chance to look at it, but naa na sila gi-file na compliance.
Attorney Dina, with these two manifestations karon ni OSG, number one, the manifestation for recusal, and the other one katong to be di na include sa kaso, what does this mean sa inyong habeas corpus nga petition or sa kaso in general aning panghit ni sa case ni PRRD?
Well, the first thing that came to mind when I saw this was, oops, it appears that the government does not have its act together. Because, one, according to Secretary Remulla, Secretaries Anyo, Teodoro, Remulla, and the President kidnapped PRRD and brought him to the ICC. And yet now the OSG, which is also under the DOJ, is saying, no, the ICC has no jurisdiction. So it really leaves the impression of a fragmented government now. That's one. Second, the fact that the OSG has asked to be recused would show that they do not want to take part here as the lawyer of the government because sila magid ang official lawyer sa government. So karon, when I looked at the compliance na gibuhat sa other respondents, it was somebody from the DOJ who I think an undersecretary who signed as lawyer for the respondents, which is again funny because the DOJ has under it the Office of the Solicitor General. Kaya funny ba? So it's going to be the DOJ infighting among themselves based on what I see now.
Attorneys, has this happened before na ang OSG di gusto manghilabot sa kaso sa gobyerno?
Because the OSG is not the lawyer of the not just the lawyer of the government, it's the lawyer of the people.
Okay.
So ang nahitabo diri, there have been cases where the OSG has sided not with the plaintiff or the petitioner where it is supposed to side, but has actually sided with the other side.
Yes.
Okay.
It has tried to be very fair, ha. So, although I will be surprised at the nahitabo diri na they did that because this is a case of transcendent national importance and even global importance. So, I would just like to salute the courage, the moral courage
Of the OSG.
of the Solicitor General Guevara on this and his people.
Basig kapoy na pud siya, no? Kay katupong the
Yeah.
last time siya
Oral
nagkuhan siya sa
arguments.
intahon dito sa Supreme Court. Wa enta siya katubag ni Justice Amy ba? Naglisod intahon siya dipinsa na gid ani nga state. And I think this is the right time that he has to speak up because he, as you said, he made already the appeal brief previously. So
Pero
pero pait kinod when the right hand does not know what the left hand is doing. So
They can't
mo na
clap.
ning nahitabo karon. They cannot
okay. When the right hand does not know what the left hand is doing, you know what that is? It appears the brain is not functioning, so there is a lobotomy.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you know, ang okay. Gid ana, they don't have clean hands.
Okay.
Attorney, if I may intervene, I think one very good, not very good, but one point dito sa manifestation na gisulti sa Office of the Solicitor General is that they stand firm, no? Ang ilang justification ba why they're inhibiting is that they stand firm with their belief that the government has no legal obligation to cooperate with the ICC nor recognize any process emanating from the ICC following the effectivity of the country's withdrawal from the Rome Statute. So, attorney, kami nga nganong tao magpasabot ani murag ning pwede ba siya nga murag nisulti siya nga mali gyud ang gibuhat atong pag-aresto?
Mura jud din ana.
Actually.
Because I'm sorry, the beautiful Attorney Regal was mentioning about the appeal brief. Ang summoning appeal brief basin wala mo nakasabot. The appeal brief was filed by the Philippine government through the Office of the Solicitor General, signed by Solicitor General Guevara, where they appealed the decision of the ICC pretrial chamber ba ito, saying that dili dapat unta, we really did not fall under the jurisdiction of the ICC. However, this was denied. And out of 5 justices lagi, 3 voted na we are under the jurisdiction of the ICC, but 2 dissented. So, ang appeal brief dito, very clear man yun.
This
Nag-cite
appeal
sila.
brief was filed to the ICC.
ICC. And this was very clear. Nag-cite yun instances dito si Solicitor General Guevara na, hey, our courts are functioning. In fact, these are the cases we filed. These are the investigations pending as of now. Daghan gito. So perhaps he did not want to, how do we call it, go against himself if he will file an appearance and represent the respondents in this case, because he has already filed an appeal brief saying na wala jurisdiction ng ICC.
And that might be the reason of the recusal, because
Yeah.
one of the reasons gyud nga mo inhibit ang OSG is one, conflict of interest, number 2, kung ethical. For them it will be unethical for the lawyer to persist with the case. Unethical man gyud kay human naman sila file ani, and they have already made a stand. So if they still continue to pursue the case, murag wa gyud nis, murag unsa naman din ning OSG. So they might just be one of those people gihapon nga ma-question yun nato ang unsa asa magid ang inyuhang unsa man loyalty, heart and brain gibutang.
Pumunta na ba kung, di ba? With all that transpired sa kaning kidnapping sa akong amahan. Unsay sala sa mga taong involved ani, and di ba kasi Remulla, si Anyo,
What's the possible legal ani?
na ba sila na ba sila kaso ani tanan? Silang gibuhat, silang involvement sa kuan?
Well, actually, if tinuod tong gisulti ni Remulla and ni Secretary Remulla, and I would believe so, I think against the president, this could be a betrayal of public trust.
Yes.
Because he gave up the sovereignty of the Philippines to the ICC when his stand before was dili wala gyud jurisdiction ng ICC. Second, but because he has parliamentary immunity as of now, he can be impeached, but unfortunately, and this is a fact of politics, karon it's the House of Congress is being held by Marcos and his cohorts, including Speaker Romualdez. So, as of now, that would be impossible. However, with respect to the others, like si Secretary Anyo, Remulla, and Teodoro, pwede ma-filean sila og kaso for kidnapping, including General Torre. Kidnapping, serious illegal detention. Also, at the same time, maybe anti-graft.
Anti-graft. Yeah, I agree with you, Andrew.
Attorney, Dana, balikan lang nako since may ambak ta sa discussion ba dito sa petition na yung gi-file
sorry, good. Okay.
makasabot lang po di ay.
Dili, mag-discuss magyapon ta atong mga kuan.
Unsa ang ginasik nato sa Supreme Court sa atong gusto mahitabo nga unod atong petition.
Sa habeas corpus na
Sa habeas corpus.
I can only talk about my case because I do not have the authority to talk about others, and I will not presume because they are
pending ba siya?
Oo, they might be even better than me katong nag-file og lain. I can just relate factually we are asking the court unta to issue a writ of habeas corpus para i-bring nila ang body ni President Duterte before the court. And katog yun, basically that's just what we were asking, to bring him there and at the same time dili na siya pagawason.
Okay.
However, I do not know what the Supreme Court will do now, considering that they have asked the respondents to comply. So let us see what the court will rule on. I refuse to think that, or even assume that I can read the minds of great legal minds of the Supreme Court justices. I will not presume.
Because as of now, they have not issued the writ.
Yes.
Kaya kanig yung writ of habeas corpus, mora gid na, meaning ana, bring the body. So, I think they're also in a quandary right now. Kumingon ang Supreme Court nga, bring the body here, human, mag-issue lang sila writ without a power. Without, kana bang walay teeth nga writ. Kay, unsaon nila pag bring the body when it's like, they cannot command an international court to do what they want to
happen.
because di man po part sa Supreme Court sa ilang jurisdiction ng ICC.
Correct.
So mo na problema ani, even if they will issue that writ of habeas corpus, can we implement that against the ICC and tell the ICC, you bring the body back to the Philippines because we want to see the body. I think the ICC will not submit to that too. So this is a diplomatic na niya nga issue now. This is a controversy on diplomacy between two courts, the Supreme Court and the ICC.
Correct. Then, that is actually the pinaka-common na question sa atong mga kaigsuuna, no, is that once mag-grant ng atong petition for kanang sa habeas corpus nato, masunod ba na, mag-take effect ba na, kana yun ang pangutanan nila.
But you know, even if let us say the issuance of the writ of habeas corpus is moot, or as I would like to say, mute and epidemic, moot and academic, okay, still, this case, I think, is of transcendental national importance because it is the very first time that this has happened. I think even on an international level. So, really, you know, there is actually a silver lining in what happened to President Duterte's kidnapping because now it has been brought to the forefront, one, the actions of this present administration. Second, the fact that whether or not the ICC really has how do you call this, jurisdiction over cases where the state is not, where a state or a government or a republic is not a member already of the ICC. So that's why I think there is also kanang ugong gani kayo sa international scene.
And to add, natay functional good na
Exactly.
Nga justice system.
Justice system.
Actually, Mayor, and actually, Attorney, nahadlok yun ang other states, ani, especially the non-member states of what's going on. That's why even now, China already issued a statement about, warning the ICC on and that they're watching the ICC on what's going on because it can have very serious implications, not only to the Philippines but also to other countries who are not even members of the ICC. Nga pwede rin silang dakpon anytime sa ilang country. And then i-deliver nga to and humana.
Oo.
Because this is the first time
That it
in the
ever
history
happened.
of ICC nga nahitabo ni nga nay gibutang nga to nga dili member sa ilang sa ICC.
Ang implication mong good din is based on principles of international law, even if you're not a party to the Rome Statute, you are not a state party, you are a non-member country, this can already be used. If there is going to be a decision by the ICC, this can already be used and cited in other jurisdictions, in other countries, which is why grave yun kaayo ni. This is really of great importance, not just to the Philippines, but to the world.
Correct. The entire world is actually watching, listening, and following the developments of this particular case.
Diri makita nato ang unsa kalapad ang jurisdiction sa ICC, unsa kalapad po ilang discretion when it comes to taking jurisdiction from from future criminals in other territories ba.
As against national sovereignty. Okay.
Which is very, very important, ang national sovereignty.
But I have to give it to President Duterte. No matter where he is, he is really a person who causes change. Causes change.
That silver lining, I would have to agree.
That's the silver lining there.
For legal study, and I don't want him to be the guinea pig in this one, ha?
God forbid.
But for legal study and legal, kuan lang gid siya, for jurisprudences, to enrich our legal minds, this could be a very great case. But then again, I'm just very sad that it is him who is subjected to this hulabalu.
Okay, let me just tell you, no, I will make this confession online. I have been crying since Sunday. That's why I did not join the march. Kay, kasi muhilak na pud ko dito, mo breakdown ko. I have been breaking down since Sunday. Gahapon, nya karon na pod. Just to get it out of my system. Just to clarify, my crying is not because of, my crying is because of rage. Rage against what this government has done to him. Rage that the rule of law is not being followed. So, but you know, we cannot do anything, and I refuse to give in to my rage. So I am trying to find in my heart the peace, gani. But it's difficult. And I think many Filipinos, many Davaoenyos feel the same. Kanaganing feeling ninyo, inutil mo, wa mo'y mabuhat. And to do that to a beloved person of Davao City.
And Attorney D, Davao is not alone. Ha? I have to tell you, even in our locality sa Cebu, grabe yun.
Salamat.
That rage we share with you.
Salamat. Because then, to know that we are not alone is something that is, how do you call this? Shared grief is better shared.
Not
Grief is
only
better
because
shared.
of Tatay Digong, no, but it's really the president surrendering our sovereignty to others. It's really the president, telling the world that we are a weak nation. That we cannot anymore exercise judicial functions to other people. Ingon anak ka weak atong justice system.
Kana gyud.
As a lawyer, sakit kaayo nga mo. We've been trying to defend our laws, defend our justice system, and then mora po din ni mahitabo.
So masuwayan gyud diri ang justice system sa Pilipinas.
I hope so, no? Karon as of now, mura they surrendered naman nga wala may justice system. So
No, Attorney,
but
I would just like to
refuse to
clarify.
ha?
Attorney Regal is not saying that the justice system here is inutil. What Attorney Regal is saying is that it is the administration that has surrendered and giving the appearance of weakness to the international community. But ako, I stand firm that our judiciary is a robust system. It is thriving. In fact, it is very vital. It is doing things now that has never been done before.
I agree.
And it's keeping up with the standards ba. Despite the fact that there was a pandemic, I think that the judiciary now is very viable and the system is viable. It's just that the perception given by the government that surrendered him is very disheartening when kita Filipino ta lupang hinirang nya murag wala matay lupang hinirang.
Correct. We all share that grief and rage, Attorney Darnano. Many of us share that, and gaya ng sinasabi natin, at this point, we need to use that grief and sadness to continue pushing forward, to work together in bringing PRRD back home. Mayor, would you like to add
I
something?
know how they feel, man God. Kay, bisag ako ba, sa gobyerno, pag yung makita mo yung mga tao na walang tiwala sa inyo, masakit. It's like you're there for nothing. You don't have a purpose. Ana gina siya.
And mao nag-feeling sa mga tao pod karon, Mayor. I would dare say that majority of the Filipinos are now feeling that way.
Well, Attorney Regal, we just have to look at the reactions across not only in the Philippines but the entire world. Filipinos gathering, speaking up, really doing their share also. And I think,
I think there have been ilang rally, mga 60 plus since.
Correct. And hindi pa tumitigil, Mayor,
And not only rallies, mga lightning rallies, Mayor. Like, for example, mag-program lang, like mag-basketball, and then mag-invocation diya mo, kalit nagsagit, Duterte. These are things that, these are symbolism of people telling the administration that they are not happy with what they did.
Exactly.
Well, they can all downplay this gatherings all they want, but we know for a fact na people are not happy with what's happening. Nahurot naman ang akong talking point sa discussion nato, but before tamo end, gusto lang nato istoryahan pod kaning if pwede gusto niyo hisgutan inyong komento aning pagpatawag ron ni Senator Amy Marcos og hearing in aid of legislation to question daw, imbestigahan ang pagdakop kay PRRD. Napa ba ni siya bearing, importante pa ba ni unsa bay tanaw ninyo ani attorneys?
Well, sa leader naman nila di ay. I do not know. Ano yung mga abogado to
Will that still be helpful, attorney? Legally speaking.
For whatever it is worth, no? If she is able to call people and establish a hearing on that, gather evidence, we can use that man.
No.
Yeah, because what she's trying to call now is in aid of legislation.
Exactly.
And if there are things that weakened the laws that are existing right now, especially 9851, and we saw very well that it has this incident has weakened this law, then maybe if that investigation can strengthen the law and can put more barriers and protect our citizens, then that might be helpful. But I don't know if this is sincere.
That's the question, because there is a difference between the viability of the hearings as against the sincerity of the act.
No, ang magud highly political magud ng Senate magud. So it can be, like they can have their own angle, 'di ba?
True.
They just build a narrative using the Senate, especially with this woman.
Correct. For all we know, basig ending anang hearing nila nga sakto tanang proseso.
Sakto si Torre, sakto si...
Diba?
Exactly. So,
And we all know, ha? We
Lahat
went
mo
through
na.
live ko. Yeah, that's true.
but we don't know. As of now, we don't know. But ako, for whatever it is worth, if it will proceed, let us see what will happen. But I really am on the fence about this. Sa tinuod lang.
Well, personally, as a Filipino na sa Dabawenyo, ang ako lang yung pangutan attorney no, na now you're conducting this, where were you sa dihang ginapangkahitabo ang pagkuha kang PRRD?
Yeah.
You were all quiet. And now, seeing the reaction of the people, na natay investigasyon pinakalit.
Especially considering that it is election and
Well,
campaign
sige lang,
time.
no? We will tanawan nato asa dagan.
I think kana manggong that's why they want to do that, because if they may seem to appear on the side of
President Duterte.
President Duterte, then they could makuha nila lahat yung all those people who are talking now was out on the streets.
And to think, Mayor, this is what's happening right now, especially from where I come from. Not everybody supported your papa's war on drugs.
Dili mo gyud.
Right now, it's all about people going out and supporting prayer rallies, not because of the extrajudicial killings. It's or they support Duterte. They're out there because they're threatened with what's happening, because President Marcos just surrendered our sovereignty to the ICC or to a foreign body or to a foreign national. And this is a danger. Kung musulti ta sa una nga, President Duterte was like, surrendering our sovereignty to China. This time, it's a person that we surrendered. It's a symbol. A person who's very, very symbolic. Atong gisurrender ngadto sa ICC. So, this is worse. And that's why people are going out. No, they might say that if we have to try Duterte, let's try him here. Let's hear him here, because we have a justice system that exists. Anong ipagawas pa man?
It's our sovereignty ba? It's our being a nation nga gi-call into question namang good, and that strikes very deep. Because it is our national identity that is already being hit by this act that was done. So, sakit jud kaayo. Because for me, when I go out of the country, there is always a part of me that is tense. Because I am not on Philippine soil. But the moment I step on Philippine soil, maski di na lang sa tarmac, kanang mubaba ang akong tiil sa tarmac, muragi ko I'm
Bubalik
now
ang
home.
confidence nimo, no?
I am now home. There is something in the air, something intangible that says, this is my home. And that is what I feel was violated And so it really strikes at the heart of the Filipino character.
Because what the people need to know also, Attorney D, is that, let's go back to basics. The elements of a state. People, kailangan og tao ang usa ka state. Second, we need a territory. The Philippines, the archipelago is our territory. We have it's being
Exactly.
stated in the Article 1 of the 1987 Constitution. The third, the one is ang atong people when we have the government. So we have a valid government now, and that's a presidential form of government. And the fourth is sovereignty. Without sovereignty, what should not? You cannot have a state anymore. It's not functioning anymore. And that is what murag gipagawas ni BBM nga what tay sovereignty. So what are we? Unsa man dita nga state? Anybody can just come here, conquer the Philippines. Well, I think Luzon already, sees us as really very varied, di ba? Para nila, they are Southern European, whereas,
Ayaw na ito.
di ba? Sakit
Wakanda.
ba? Sakit. Nga naingon ana nga concept. So,
Attorneys, I think, sa laktod ng pagkastorya ba, kitang mga pobre o gyano ron, kung nabuhat to nila sa former president, na kapasidad unta mo kang ugado, how much more nga kaya nila nang buhaton sa ato. And I think, mauna ang kabalakan.
exactly.
Kana, nga storya gani, there are now people jokingly, saying, kung magpa-blatter ko, asa man kumupile, there sa amo, sa dahig na kumuan to. nga storya ba? And so people really understand the danger ba, no? Angay kabalakan.
It's creating a state of instability in the minds of the Filipino people. Nga naman, it's like, do we still have a functioning government? Okay, the fact na musulti sila, asa may magpa-blatter, simple fact lang nga, blatter lang nga, that's a common crime by the common people. And the fact na mabuhat nga lagi nila to a former president who had very strong political will. So now, ang takot ng mga tao, what is next?
Correct.
Kailangan, kung mo na lang din na, kung tanang drug lords na lang sa Pilipinas, atong isan nga sa dahig na lang, if that's the case. Because it seems that the government has surrendered already their ability to prosecute, to investigate, and to hear trials.
Sila maglalis.
At tanan na lang at ihatag na lang as ICC. Ang kailangan small claims na lang din ni Attorney D.
But then, I will not call myself a Filipino anymore.
Exactly. And that's what we're losing now, the identity of being Filipino. This little pride that we have ba, that strength that we have nga, we stand up and we call ourselves Filipino, and we're losing that identity because our president is not protecting it.
It's true. And what's really inspiring pag yun aning, despite him, the former president, being detained dito, ang iya pong sulti sa mga tao is, maging kalmado, and that there, nagyurit kuning, maabot yun ang adlaw.
Amutuo man po
Pero,
na harms.
parang nako lang, kanang, ako nga tao ba, kanang, di mo ko bugado, mo ko'y, kasabot ko, pero di na ko ma-articulate kung sakit ang ilang ginapangingon po. Tanaw na ko, tungod lang gihapon na itong GAA o bycam report lang gihapon. Mo
Yes.
ni response gid nila.
If you notice before, this is the pattern that the government, that the present administration is doing. If there is something na we question, buhat na po sila glain
Ang
para
diversion.
ma-divert ang attention. This time, because there is already a Supreme Court case on the GAA, na pa yung mga lain, gina-question on the PhilHealth. So karon, this is what they did to divert the attention of the people. But please, do not forget about that. To the Filipino people out there, please be reminded that the question is not only about how to bring back former President Duterte, but also as to our national budget, as to what is happening to our social security system, ang atong PhilHealth ba?
PhilHealth.
Karon, because this is the only thing na that the poor and the lowly can run to nga, mabawasan ang ilang bayad.
Our malasakit centers as well. It's
Exactly.
a law. It's a law, ha? There's supposed to be an automatic appropriation for malasakit centers, and they did not appropriate anything. So these are, we have to also protect, by April 1 and 2, we have
The
to
oral arguments. are
tune
set.
in on the oral arguments. Because
Please do not forget, April 1 and 2. Do not forget, sa Supreme Court.
Naglisod sila tubag eh. Naglisod sila tubag.
So,
Sakto na.
karon we should bring it back to that narrative because they are trying to veer it away from that narrative. So let's bring it back.
No, sa same gyapon atong panawagan, nasaan ang enrolled bill o gibalik ang kwarta sa PhilHealth. So di nato na kalimtan na mga
Mo nang politika
issues.
gini.
Tanan.
Politika gini.
Tama.
Kaya so sinugdanan man god ilang gina-accuse ang ako ang igsuon nga diya sa Congress kanang kuan nga nangawat kag kwarta. Nga karon og giingnan mo na mo asa man ning kwartahan eh. Saan man yung pera na sinasabi nyo, may kinuha kami pera, yung kapatid ko may kinuha na pera. Itong pera na ito, nasaan? Tapos ngayon, di nila masagot. So, yung reaction nila, sige, ganun di, kidnapin namin yung tatay mo, puta. Dala ka doon sa cake. Oh.
And
Magmukha
nganong
kayong-
imura mang igsuon ang gi-question ra pod yun.
Nagipod.
Di ba sa
Ana,
kadaghan nakadawat og confidential funds? Ganun siya raman.
Tinuod lang. Ako gani, namo ko yung mga certain ako ng mga sorties ba maingon man ko nga. Kung tinuod gyud ng kung totoo yang if you want reform the government, then it has to start with the head. Di ba? Ang chief
Yes.
executive. Kung gusto na ako, I want everybody to be, like wala na yung confidential funds. Let's eradicate this. Wala na. It will start with me. Kung sincere gyud ka sa imuhang, with what you want to happen. Ana naman nakasimple.
Confidential funds,
Dili nimo i-single out ang isa
Correct.
ka tao. Gusto nimo nga walay confidential funds because you believe nga ginasayang ang kwarta sa tao, dili siya well appropriated, then you start with yourself. Kay ikaw gud ang pinakataas. Para tanan mo sunod sa ubos nimo.
And confidential funds niya 4 billion ha.
Kinsa?
President.
Marcos.
Oh, yes.
Naman kang VP is only 120 million. So
And there was a
Nobody's
COA
questioning.
report.
and everybody's questioning that.
No, pero there was a COA report, di ba? Giving her the highest approval rating. So, asa to?
Gani, mo bitaw na nga why would that be part of the articles of impeachment? Nga. Ginoo ko.
Ay,
Ayaw
anyway.
sa wala pa ganila na answers ko
Kuyaw lagi.
Bati kayo.
Last year pa ko gayaw-yaw ani. Last year.
Politika ra ginitanan Mayor Baste.
Mao lagi na di na nato matag na unsay tinuod ug unsang proseso ilang gina-follow, and I would agree sa imong earlier statement, Mayor, no, nga at this point we need
Kabalo
to be
ka nung kapoy kay mo trabaho gobyerno ning ana imong amo
mao
sa
lagi.
taas.
Mao lagi.
Mag-appeal ka ba? Sa man eh.
Kuan pagid Mayor kana bang if you're the president of the Philippines, ikaw man untay supervisor sa tanan mayor, gobernador, barangay captains, underbill nimo tanan.
Ikaw ang ehemplo.
But none in his 3 years as president, wa pagid siya nakapatawag og meeting sa mga mayors,
Mao ba?
sa mga governors.
Wala.
Wala. Yara nang gipasagdan. Look at governors, mayors, mayors of municipalities, barangay captains, they're being suspended left and right.
Exactly.
He never lifted a finger to protect them. Ako, I have not heard a single mayor being suspended during the time of President Duterte because he was protecting everybody on the ground. Unless,
daghan.
Not only during my father's time. Way before.
Yes.
Wala gyud ko
Karon, gipang
suspend. Gisuspend na gobernador,
gipang
gisuspend na mayor.
dismiss.
So that's why this is causing a lot of questions about political instability gani. There is a sense that the Philippines is in a state of flux, nga everything is very fluid. And so I think that also that was heightened when President Duterte was kidnapped. Kay everything is in flux. Ang funds can be transferred indiscriminately. GAA, PhilHealth. Ang mga mayors, even governors can be suspended for whatever reason there may be.
For
diba?
the most minute
reason. And then karon the police are not being used in accordance to how they are supposed to be used.
Exactly.
So all these things ba, they come together. And when they all come together, that cherry on top yun, the straw that broke the camel's back was the
Arrest.
kidnapping of President Duterte. So karon that is why the people now want stability. The people are asking, where are we going?
I don't
Asa
think he can
tapadulong?
give that. BBM, hindi na niya mahatag.
I cannot answer that. That is only a question I am bringing out now.
It's me. Wala na. Nilampas na siya. It's way beyond that already nga. Tarong pa ninyo.
Thank you, Mayor and attorneys. Before we close the discussion, since we have two lawyers here, Mayor, para i-appeal na lang po nato ni sa pagpasabot sa atong mga kaigsunan labi na diri sa Davao City. Kay karon na istorya nagagawas nga si PRRD, since he's detained, is disqualified na isip kandidato pagka mayor. Attorney, from a legal perspective, unsay kamatuoran ang istoryaha sa status karon sa kandidatura ni PRRD isip mayor sa Davao City?
Okay. Even under international law, an accused is presumed innocent until proven guilty. So, he has not been proven guilty yet. In fact, wala pa gani nag-start ang trial. So, he can still be elected by the people. It is only when he becomes convicted that he is disqualified. But as of the present, dili pa siya disqualified. Kasi September pa baya ang hearing,
Confirmation
next
charges.
hearing. So, that is after the elections already. So, he can still run. And this is already, I think, stated by COMELEC Chairman Garcia that he can run.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that,
Yeah.
Would you like to add that?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
It's okay.
So I think that's another fact, Dabawenyos, no? Si PRRD is still a candidate for the mayoralty post diri sa Davao City ug pwede gyapon nato siyang botohan. Dili mawala iyang pangalan sa balota. So kana klaro.
tanaw na ko ni istorya dayon to si Comelec para di na sa maipit ni
Maipit.
Marcos. Tiguna niya.
Di siya maipit ni Romualdez. Si Romualdez mo ginagsigikuan niya.
Anyway, Mayor and attorneys, we've covered all the discussion points that I prepared this evening. Unless there are other things na you think wa pa nato naisgutan or gusto nato ipaklaro sa atong mga kaigsunan sa ating listeners regarding their...
I have a message for the Filipino people and to the Davaoenyos. Please pray for peace. We are in a new age now. I believe in the new age theories that we are already in the age of Aquarius, and it's supposed to be that love that prevails. So I am praying for peace and healing of this wounded land, this wounded and broken country. So please, to the Filipinos, if we collectively pray for peace, if we collectively pray for healing, I think healing will come, but we do not know what form it will take, but I am hopeful that healing will come if we all pray for peace for this country.
Thank you, Attorney Dina. I think murag closing naman tano. Before we end, magpasalamat lang gid mi usab, Attorney Dina, for your usual support and for sharing your knowledge and expertise dinhi sa mga karon. Attorney Regal, I know you're very busy dito sa Mandawi City karon, no, sa pag-atiman pod sa ato mga kaigsuonan dito ug nakahatag yung kag panahon nga mo adto dire, your message.
All for Mayor Baste, all for the Duterte family, of
Daghang
course.
Salamat. You're always welcome in Davao City.
Yes.
May I add something?
Go ahead, Attorney Dina. Sorry.
I would just like to say that I have seen Attorney Regal online, no? And I have always admired her and her views. And to see her now in person, murag bucket list check gani.
Ay, wow, Attorney D. Thank you,
Oo.
thank you.
Balikan ako, Attorney Regal, your message to our fellow Filipinos labi na dito sa Mandawi City po dato mga kaigsuonan.
Yeah. Foremost, we're very, very happy that we were among the last cities to have been visited by President Rodrigo Duterte during the Maisog rally. And then we were so proud, no, of him being there, and that is why Mandawi Hanons are in unison and in unity to protect whatever legacy he has left for the Filipino people and for everybody, no, sa atong tanan din ha nga nagtanaw. I hope nga I just pray for sobriety, but when it comes to fighting for the nation, let us not keep quiet. Let us not remain in the dark and just accept whatever fate we have, because we as a nation have been known by the whole world that we will fight for democracy, we will fight for freedom, and we will always fight for our beloved country. And that is what we are, where we are now. We need to stand up and tell the world that we are a strong nation.
Thank you, Attorney Regal, no, gatong pagtimbaya po sa atong mga kaigsuonan dinha sa Mandawi, Cebu. Maayong adlaw kaninyo. At this point, Mayor, I know you nana kay mga na storya, no, bahin ani mga paghitabo, but if there's anything you want to say, ilabi na Mayor, sa mga tao karon sa tibuok kalibutan nga padayon nga gawas o speak up bahin sa ilang sentimento kanisa nahitabo kay PRRD.
Una, mapasalamat ko sa Attorney Dina ug Attorney Regal Oliva. Tama ba ko?
Yeah.
Salamat kay sa inyong pag-guest diri sa mo ang kuan. sa mo show, sa mo podcast para ma-inform ang mga tao, unya makibaw sila, makasabot sila sa sitwasyon gyud ug unsay nahitabo no sa akong amahan. Sa karon gusto po ko magpasalamat sa mga tao nakapalibot nako. Kamo, ikaw, Harvey, ang crew, tanan, pati ko mga katabang, o nabilin ako mga security. Mga amigo nako, salamat ko. Kina sila, naamo diri, nagasuporta gyapon mo sa mua. Lisod gyud kaayo sa. Lisod kay sa nga sitwasyon nga kanang gina-single out mo sa usa ka presidente. Di ba? Kanang kuan ba kanang targeted mi ba? Bugat kayo ang mga kuan, ang sitwasyon karon. Kanya usay pag mumata ko gatuo ko gani ko nga damgura dili di ay tinuod gyud ay ni tanan. Tinuod di pa. Wala gyud ako na imagine na moabot ning aning klaseng sitwasyon sa akong kinabuhi no kay sulod ko politika kabalo mo ko naa magi problema pero dili ingon ani kagrabe. So sa mga tao sa nga nagagawas, salamat kayo sa inyo ha. Karon nakita gyud nako nga unsa ka kuan gyud well loved ang ako ang papa. Kita na to nga dili lang labi na mga OFW kay kani sila mga basic na mga tao. Nani sila yung mga trabaho pero naa sila dito, nanggawas sila dili na ko ma-imagine gyud na ingana nga klaseng suporta sa mga tao. Wala ko nag-expect pod gyud sa tinuod lang nga mubuhaton na nila para sa akong papa. So nakita gyud nako nga well loved gyud kay akong papa. So probably na gyud sa inhimong tama para sa tong nasod. Ang kaning sitwasyon tanaw nako kabalo mo di ko maingon nga desperado ko di mo ko nahadlok ninyo tinuod lang bisag unsaon bisag pagpatyon ko ni wala ko ana nisod ko aning trabaho ani gusto nako nga nakoy mahatag to society or sa bisag diri sa syudad o nakoy ma-offer sa mga akong constituents mga Pilipino. It's either to inspire o mahimo kong ehemplo sa inyo ha. Pero ganing ingon ani nga klaseng gobyerno. Well, I'm a student of political science. Kibaw ko kung asa ang gobyerno when too much is too much already. So, ayaw gyud mo expect nga mo atras ko ani. Ginasulti na ako sa inyo. Bisan pag unsaon ko ninyo, di ko ninyo mahadlok. Kaya tanaw na ko, from my own point of view, naagyo mo sayop. Ay gyud mo expect nga di ko musukol ninyo bisan pag ingani na lang mi karong gamay na lang mi. So I'm sorry kung suko ko Atty. Dina wants peace and healing. Pero di ba this is how I feel and syempre amahan ko na. Nagibuhat na ninyo sa akong amahan.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. And we are with you all the way, Mayor. Daghan kayong salamat. Again, Attorney Dina, Attorney Regal, thank you very much for joining us. And sa ato mga kaigsuonang Dabawenyo, daghan kayong salamat sa pag-uban kanamo sa ato na pong isa ka episode sa Bastadabawenyo. Sa lahat ng Pilipino at lalo na po sa mga OFWs na patuloy na tumututok at sumusuporta sa ating programa at sa bansang Pilipinas. Maraming salamat po sa inyo at naway nasa mabuti po kayong kalagayan sa mga oras na ito. Ang disiplinadong Dabawenyo mahadlukon sa Ginoo. Ang disiplinadong Dabawenyo padayong mobarog alang sa luwas ug paspas na pag-uli ni PRRD diri sa Davao City. Makinahuron, mahigugmaon ug maisog. Basta Dabawenyo.